Well, greetings and happy Wednesday, my League of Eagles. It's Wednesday, so it's time for Leading Ladies, Leaving Legacies. We gather here every Wednesday for another episode of Leading Ladies, Leaving Legacies. And every week we attempt to bring you a featured guest speaker that will enlighten, inspire, and ignite something in you. And today is no different. We're streaming on Facebook, YouTube, and LinkedIn, and so many other social media platforms. What a gift it is for me to connect with you today and always as your minister of enlightenment, awareness, and awakenings, and your signature style specialist. This month, what is the theme? The theme is Let Your Light Take Center Stage, a gentle yet powerful return to presence, clarity, and the courage to be fully seen. And we're going to talk about that in a different context today. My featured guest speaker, oh my goodness gracious, I could tell you so much about her, but I want you to hear from her a lot. But I want to share a wee bit about Claudia Cupe with you. She is a retired postal worker. Now she's immersed in her new business venture. She's a founder of Granny's Doggie Treats. But it's so much that and more. That's just the tip of the iceberg. So let me ask you to sit back, relax, and take care and take in all of this information we're going to share with you. So as we say always, they say it on the telly, we bring it here. Claudia, come on up and welcome.
Good evening, Joy. Thank you so much for having me.
The pleasure is mine, my lady love, because I noted, and we have been connected through the social media platform for quite a while, but we never did a one-on-one, and here we are. Even though we're in the box, we're still doing a one-on-one because I love the work you're doing. Now, I know that you're the founder of Granny's Doggie Treats, so LLC, so on. But I want you to start with me telling me a little bit about how you came to all of this wisdom that I perceive from you. You said that your starting point does not define your finish line. Now, I'm sure this ties in a lot with the postal work, with your new business venture, with raising your kids and then the grandkids. But share with us what you can about that.
Yeah, Joy. So, I think that most of us, we think we start at a disadvantage, detours, difficult circumstances, but growth isn't determined by beginnings. It shapes us. We have choices and the willingness to keep moving forward. You just start. Maybe you might explain your journey, but it never disqualifies your future. So, that's it in a nutshell, really.
I like that. And not only do I like it because I know a little bit about your background, I've heard you in a beautiful speech that you gave to a group that you were involved with, and it inspired me. So tell us a little bit about how you came to this mindset and this outlook. What brought you to this? Tell us as briefly as you can, but you'll stay on path, about your raising your kids and your marriage and the grandkids and all of this, how they awaken. You share with us your bit about that.
Well, it was definitely a journey.
Yes.
The thing is, I worked for the Postal Service. I worked third shift. I took care of both of my parents. My mom lived with me for 15 years. And my dad would come in from Jamaica and he would come to my house. I would take care of him. And everybody thought I was crazy, but I had to have them all under one roof so I could keep an eye out on them and look after them. So it just, my parents were hardworking people and they instilled that into me. So
yes.
Taking care of our parents, that's like number one, so that my kids can see me taking care of my parents. And when I get elderly, hopefully they'll follow suit.
The key word is hopefully.
Exactly.
This day and age, we don't know. But that ties into something I heard you speak about, Claudia, and I wanted you to touch base with this. You were taking care of the grandkids and doing what you do so beautifully and well. And then they pushed you on to get back to community college and do something. Share that a little bit about us.
They my grandkids, Joy, they kind of kicked poor Granny to the curb and said, Granny, we're going to school. I'm like, okay, y'all going to school? So it was always my dream to go back to college,
Uh-huh,
and I wanted to be the first one in my family to go to college, and I accomplished that. I ended up attending a community college here in Enfield, Connecticut, called as Nantucket Community College.
uh-huh.
And I was, in high school I was like above sea level, but I got into this whole college thing. I was really rocking it. I ended up being the president of the student body and joining all these clubs, and I was just rocking it there.
I think I love that story when I heard you speak about it, when I listened to your speech, how your grandkids kicked you to the curb, so to speak, and said, Grandma, get back to school or do something, blah, blah, blah. That leads me to something you gave me. You said pain can be repositioned into purpose. I think that's a small reason or a description of what that can do for you. So tell us what you meant by that. Pain can be repositioned into purpose. What do you mean by that?
So pain doesn't automatically become purpose, but that whole transformation happens when we decide to grow from it, really. Our hardest seasons often refine our character, and it
Yes.
deepens our empathy, and this clarity that we call to do it. So when
Mhm.
pain is acknowledged and processed, it becomes the fuel that pushes us to serve. That's what we're here to
Mhm.
do. Serve,
Mhm.
lead, support others who are walking a similar path.
Oh, I love that. We're here to lead. That's what you ended with. And Claudia, I believe that with my heart and soul connected in every part of my being. I know that no matter what our gifts, skills, and talents are, we're here to be able to share it with others and to lead in whatever capacity that we can. And you also mentioned something about character, building the character of the individual. And I've often said that our moral compass has shifted over to the dark side. Too much so. We condone and forgive too much that we ought not to. But then that's changing slowly too. When you say build character, how did you mean that? What do you mean by that? Because I think I get it, but I want to hear you speak to that.
Our character we definitely is defined by our character. Like your word is your bond. If you say you're
Woo!
going to do XYZ, your word is your bond, and that's part of your character.
I so agree with that, because one of the things that I always say, and I'm not trying to be Mother Teresa, is I don't make excuses. I slipped and dropped the ball with you, but your grace embodied and said to me, it's okay. I appreciate that. But we don't own our mistakes so much of the time. We just pass it on to someone else. And you mentioned voice. You said voice comes from hearing, not perfection. Now that's a kind of, I thought about that. I said, what does she really mean by that? Voice. Voice comes from hearing, not perfection. So I want you really to expound on that, because I'm all about the voice, but the voice that has resonance and meaning and character involved in it, embedded.
So many people wait until they feel ready or flawless before
Ooh.
sharing their story. But authenticity, it resonates far more than perfection. When we
Mm.
speak from a place of healing and honesty, our voice carries an impact because it's real. People don't connect to polished stories, they connect to truth.
Amen. Truth, love, and beauty is what the universe is built upon, but not in the traditional sense that we think of beauty. But you also said when people feel ready and they're flawless, where does that stem from? Because so many of us have that. I had it. I dropped it because it's a waste of time and energy. But what is this feeling always? You have to be ready for any, every, and all things, and flawless in the readiness. What is that?
Well, that's what us women, that's what we tell ourselves, that, oh,
Yes.
wow, we got to be ready. We got to be perfect. We got to be flawless. But, it's all in your own exception of that. Do you accept being ready, or do you accept not being ready? Do you accept being flawless, or do you accept not being flawless? It's all in your own, how you accept things in life, really.
Mm-hmm.
That's my take on it.
I think the same, because I think that our traditionalized, idealized sense of beauty, and I love the entertainment business, the communications, and the fashion business. I really love them all, and they're all interconnected. But they have put the spotlight on perfection. You know, everybody has to be a 0 or a size 8 with a straight nose, blue eyes, and blonde hair. And yet, and women, especially as we're building our confidence, we buy into all that crapola. That was a word that my husband used all the time. What is that crapola? Because it doesn't make sense. But we buy into that. What about those with flat nose and pointed nose and big lips or thin lips or big ear? I mean, what? Where's the beauty there? We have to own our own bodies. So that's why I wanted you to share what you thought about that. And I like the feeling ready and the flawlessness, because we don't need that as much as we used to. It's time to walk away from that. So I love that. How do you think most of us use our voices today?
Well, now that we have social media going on, a lot of people are using their voices. They on they on TikTok, they doing selfies, and I believe that more women are starting to use their voice now, which is really good, opposed to back in the day. You know,
Mm-hmm.
we were always silent. We didn't, oh my God, I
Exactly.
better not say that. And she's going to be mad at me if I do that. But I think more and more people are starting to voice their opinions. And, you know, I'm down with that for sure.
Yeah, because everyone, Claudia, I think with no exceptions, really, even the shy, withdrawn, retiring people want to be seen, you want to be heard, and you want to be valued. The question is, how do you want to be seen, valued, and heard? So a lot of this preening and pruning on the social media and everything, the pictures taking, all of this, some of it's gone, but that is what happens when anything is new. So it takes time to get used to it and show the best of whatever it is about you. Now, we're going to take a quick little break here, and I want to talk about a few things. But when I come back, you gave me legacy is building through service, not status. I really want you to think about that, and I want you to expound on that, because I think somehow we've gotten off the tracks with what that really means. I get it, but I want you to explain it to us. So hold tight. We're going to take a quick little break, and I'm going to introduce the audience to a couple of things and your graphic that you showed us, because I want them to be able to connect with you. And we want to talk about your service, the founding of the service that you have. So hold tight. And my Eagles, as I always say to you, every Monday, every Wednesday, and every Thursday on YouTube when I come to you, I'd love it if you would join our group, Leading Ladies, Leaving Legacies, because this is a community and it needs you. No one does anything alone. It needs your vision, the mission that you're about, and your purpose, because you shine, you lead, and you leave light behind, as Claudia is doing. We're going to speak a little bit more about that. I want you to join Leading Ladies, Leaving Legacies, because we need you and your vision. We're not comparing, competing, and copying anything here. We want you to come with your message and deliver it to us in a way that we can collaborate and connect and build a community together. And then the other thing is that there is still the style clarity package ready for you. It's a complimentary 7-step bundle. But that 7-step bundle is beginning seeds to what can be for you when it comes to signature style and how you show up. Not how Susie and Jane and Betty and Joe shows up, how you show up with your signature style that speaks to your character and the honor of you. And plus, you'll get a complimentary one-on-one session where I will guide you through any of the questions and concerns that you have, period. So don't let this bypass. Don't let this go by. And let's put up Claudia's graphic. I want you to take a screenshot, take a snapshot. This lady is the founder of Granny's Doggie Treats. Now, we know that animals are a man's best friend. Most all of us recognize that. But she's going to share a little bit about her story and how she came to this. But I want you to do that screenshot, snapshot, and make sure you connect with her, because the plight, the journey that she's on, as she mentioned, has never ended, but her heart and soul is connected in it. And she'd love it if you would connect and join with her there. That said, Claudia, let's speak to legacy, because that's one of my favorite words. I think everybody knows that. I have legacy in everything. And it's not because I'm a happy senior, it's because we all have a legacy to leave. But we think it's only for those who are at the higher echelon. It's for everyone. So why is legacy to build service, not status? How do you define that for us?
Well, to be honest with you, Joy, true legacy isn't defined by titles, in my opinion.
Ooh.
Titles, positions, or recognition, it's not defined by that. It's defined by how we show up for others. Service creates lasting change because it's rooted in our intention and care. What people remember most is not what we achieved for others, ourselves, but what we did to uplift and empower those around us. So it's all about service and how you show up for people.
I quite agree. And I think so many of us have gotten carried away with titles. We have to have a title. We're the doctor of this, we have a PhD in this, we're the ambassador of this. That's all well and good. But if that's what you're riding to the front with, that's not going to be it. It's how do you serve others? How do you give them your compassionate heart and concern for what they're doing to uplift them? I love that word, to uplift. And everyone needs to be uplifted every now and then, no matter what status you're at. How did you come to this awareness, though, this awakening? What brought you to this? Because not everyone has this, Claudia. Not everyone.
It took a lot of therapy and a lot of putting myself out there, really, because growing up in high school, I was like I was like the wallflower.
Were you?
Yeah, I was very shy. People, nah, you couldn't be shy. No, not you. But I was very shy, very shy. And just, putting myself out there, it wasn't comfortable. It wasn't fun. But once I got myself out there, it was kind of fun. I was like, okay, this is not so bad. And just talking to people and really reaching out to people, especially women in my age group,
yes,
over 50, and just listening to them, because that's one thing we don't do is listen to each other.
Ooh.
We don't listen. We just over talk people and, trying to get your point across or whatever. But if you just sit back and just listen and be present in the conversation, you'll learn a lot about people.
It's true. It's true. And as a friend of mine said, Claudia, listening is a good talent and skill to have. But when you're listening, are you really comprehending? Are you taking in and understanding what is being said? And that's important too. I love it that what do you think when you think back now? Because you say nobody would think, oh, you were shy, you were retiring. They wouldn't think that. When do you think you began to transition to be more bolder and outspoken and listen more and tune in more to what other people had to say? When did that happen?
I think that happened when I was on the campus at Asnuntuck Community College, because I was a student worker in the pantry. And a lot of students, I was a student worker, child. I was, and a lot of students there they were either embarrassed about coming to the pantry to get food that they need, or their stomach was growling, they was hungry. And I was like, you know what, you better put your pride down and come on into this pantry and get some of this free food. Okay. And I started gathering the students around. They would come to me and say, oh, Claudia, I need to talk to you. And I would just let them, talk, and I would listen. And if I can help them or point them in the right direction, I was like the mother hen.
Oh, yes, yes, yes. And that helped to build up your confidence. Yes. And you mentioned that word there that I think most people misconstrue the meaning of it. It's good to have pride, but if that pride is overriding over to the side that's not comfortable, it's not really good confidence. Self-confidence is taking pride in who you are, but sharing who you are with others. And when there's too much pride, it's like you feel that you're above others, and that's never going to work. That'll work for a short time, but sooner or later it's gone. But you said you were able to listen and comprehend, and that's good. So listen, before we go to the meat and potatoes of what I want to share with your ending here, tell us how you came to the founder of Granny's Doggie's Treats, because we all love our animals. Animals just take first in everything. So how did you come to this? Tell us this story.
Well, it was kind of like a combination of the two things that happened together.
Uh-huh.
My dog got attacked by a vicious dog in my neighborhood,
Woo.
and he had to have emergency spinal surgery,
Ooh.
and he was in the hospital for a week. And Claudia didn't know what to do, whether to walk or not walk, because me and Wellington is his name. He's a corgi
Oh.
miniature pinscher mix, and
Uh-huh.
we go on this gratitude walk every morning. And by him being in hospital for a week, I didn't know what to do. I walk or do I stay, or So once he got home from the hospital, and he couldn't walk. We couldn't walk like we used to. He started gaining some weight. So the veterinarian was like, well, you need to buy this expensive prescription food. And I was like, let me Google some recipes.
Right.
I Googled some recipes, and I started making his dog food and his dog treats. And I brought him back to the vet for his wellness check. And she was like, Claudia, I don't know what you did, but he's at the right weight. He's looking good, and he's happy.
Wow.
And I was like, yeah, I started making his food. He said, oh, for real? And his treats.
Wow.
So a combination of that and us having a bake sale at Nantucket Community College, I said, well, you know what? I told all the senators, bring cookies, bring cakes, have them already wrapped, because I ain't cutting, I ain't wrapping nothing.
Uh-huh.
So I said, well, what am I going to bring? So I said, I'm gonna make some dog treats, and I'm gonna bring those. And Joy, let me tell you, them things flew off the table. People laying down $10 bills for like one bone.
I know.
I was like, whoa, and then I started thinking, and I started sharing the treats with some of the dog parents in my neighborhood, and the dogs was really liking them. And I said, you know what? Probably can make some money out of this thing here,
Good for you.
The entrepreneur, that's always in my mind, always about, how I can make that extra dollar. And then sure enough, I registered with the state of Connecticut, and I started attending farmers markets. And as they say in showbiz, the rest was history.
I love that story. How long did it take for you to get this recipe and make it up for Wellington? And how long before you could see visible results that he was getting better? Did I hear you say a week or two, or what was it?
It was like, let me see. So he came home from the hospital, and I think between it was about 2-3 months. Then he had to go for his wellness check, and that's when the doctor seen that he was losing weight and he was good. All his vitals was good. She says, I don't know what you're doing, but he's doing really, really well. So it was about 2-3 months, because I was good. And then we started walking him, and I had to hold the sling because he couldn't walk with his two back legs, and he was just going like this. It was so funny.
Claudia, I'm sure that people are going to want to know, what did you put in this mixture, this recipe that you mixed up for Wellington that got him going and so much better, and so on and so forth. Whatever it is, it must be your secret ingredient. But people who, and most people, the majority of people really love our pets. And when you do, there's nothing under the sun that you won't do to make sure that they're healthy and well and so on. So good for you. Bravo. You always had that entrepreneurial spirit in you, though, right? You knew that something. Oh, my God. How long have you been with this service that you offer now, this business? How long has that been? 5 years? 6?
4 years come this June 6th of 2026 will be 4 years that Granny's Doggie Treats has been licensed with the Department of Agriculture, because you have to get your treats tested, because they have to have a certain amount of proteins and moisture, and the guaranteed analysis. It has to pass. If it doesn't, you got to go back to the drawing board.
I've heard that process is never ending, but worth it if you can get through it. So are you like in the pet stores like PetSmart and all these other stores, or you just keep how does
Actually, I got a different twist to my Granny's Doggie Treats thing, Joy. Let me share this with you.
Okay, I'm listening.
Okay, now I did try that avenue, but it didn't really pan out for me because of the the shelf life for Granny's Doggie trees is
Yes, yes,
no
yes.
additives, no preservatives, no chemicals. So
Right.
the shelf life is about 4 weeks. So what I ventured in just middle of last year, I started reaching out to bakeries. So
Woo!
when the wifey go pick up the cupcakes for Johnny's 8th birthday party, she looked
Brilliant.
over and she said, "What is that over there? That looks absolutely fantastic. I'm gonna get Bozo some of those dog treats, Granny's dog treats." And so she's leaving the regular bakery with Johnny's cupcakes, and she got Bozo some of Granny's doggy treats. So everybody's happy now.
Brilliant. Bravo for you. That's what entrepreneurials do. They come up with some kind of new seed or idea that hasn't been implemented yet. And then when they do, they keep expanding on it. Bravo to you. I wish I had a pet at this time because I'd like to try, but I know friends who do, and I'll mention this to them. Tell me this. I'm not going to even go beyond that. I think you shared enough with this, but you gave me this because you are entrepreneurial spirit and all of this leadership and this character building and all of these good things you're talking about for women and all of us. How do we end this? You said it's never too late to lead, give back, and be seen. Now, most everybody wants that because it's to be seen, heard, and valued. But how are you expanding on that so that people can receive and embody this message? So share with us a little bit more about how one can do that, because I pretty much know what you're gonna say, but I want to hear it from you.
Okay, Joy. Well, you know what? Leadership isn't about age, timing, or having all the answers. Every
Mm,
season of life brings wisdom that someone else's they need, whether you're just beginning or starting again. Your voice, your service, and your leadership still matters right now.
Indeed. I believe that not because of where I'm at in this season of my life, but I've never bought into this age thing anyway. I think sometimes babies pop out of the womb with wisdom, and sometimes they pop out of the womb and they go into old age and they never gain wisdom. So it all depends on the individual.
I guess so.
It's because growth and learning and being open is not in their journey right this time around. So I get that. So I like when you say that because it's not defined by that timing and all the other things that you could attribute to it. Leadership is when the heart and soul is connected and you're really about sometimes giving out a service and a something to others that maybe they're not even aware that they need at the time, but it's paramount that it's part of their journey. So I like that. When did you realize that you had this talent within you, that you knew that not only finding the doggy's treat and the leadership abilities that you have in other arenas, when did you know that you had this gift and talent within you to be of service and to awaken something in other people?
That's a great question, Joy. I was in this program. uh, Actually, I'm the class of 2018
Uh-huh.
with Launch Your Leadership, Women Leading Women. It was
Mm.
a platform that was at Asnuntuck Community College, and it was Women's Leadership Institute. And in fact, I just had lunch with, well, a coffee with one of the founders of Women's Leadership. And she says, "Claudia, I'm so proud of you. Look how you just sprouted up." And they taught us a lot about leadership and taking your own life in your own hands and ownership of your life.
Mm.
And I did the course, I did the class, I got the t-shirt and all of that good stuff and the certificate and all that. But I really took that to heart with that, the leadership that the facilitators instilled in us. And it just kind of, I guess it was always in me, but it
Mhm.
just kind of brought it out of me
Mm.
in a big way, where I love business anyway. I mean, from high school, I used to sell Avon, so I was always selling something.
Is that, you know what? I think when I can't believe I say this every week, Claudia, where the time goes. But I was going to ask you for a takeaway, but you just gave us the best. That is one of the best endings because you gave us clarity on a lot of our understanding of what legacy and leadership means. So thank you for that. I have enjoyed this immensely because I was so eager to meet and greet and talk with you because I love animals and I love your outlook and mindset on what you're doing. I send you applause and congrats and all that good stuff always. You're in my heart. The best to you. Take care.
Thank
Bye.
you.
Thank you. Thank you. My Eagles, I thank you for sharing this moment with me. I honor your presence, your energy, and your openness to grow, which is a lot of what Claudia talked about today in two different realms. Here's what I leave you with. I leave you with this every week. Empowerment without liberation is incomplete. Claudia and her style spoke to all of this. As we let go of old conditionings and space is created for the true empowerment to take place. So I want you to join me next week for another soulful conversation with a featured guest speaker. And be sure to like, comment, and subscribe to my YouTube channel, Joy Ruffin Fashioning Femininity, Style, and Truth, so we can stay connected. And if you want to go deeper, I invite you to explore my offerings and upcoming experiences. Plus, I want you to know if there's someone who leads with heart, as Claudia does, if you think they would be a featured guest speaker, a good featured guest speaker to share their story, as Claudia did, we welcome and we embrace you here. So please come aboard. We keep an open arm and an open heart to embody and embrace you. So please come aboard. Beautiful things are always unfolding here. And remember our theme: let your light take center stage. And I have so many takeaways that Claudia left us with, but this is what's sticking in my craw somewhat. Leadership is not about age, it's not about timing, and it's certainly not about having all the answers. It's about owning your power, your radiance, and your style. And always from the beginning, know thyself, which is a journey that we're all in and on. So next time, my Eagles, stay grounded, stay confident, and let your light lead the way. We'll see you again next week. Until then, be and stay well. From my heart to yours, always much, much love. Until the next time, cheers.